Hello dear students, welcome to the third video of machine learning. So in the last video we have started with the module number 1 and I just brief out what we have learnt in the last class. We have learnt about the machine learning definition. After that we learnt about the well posed problem. We have seen what is the well posed problem and how to write the well posed problem. The very important three terms here is, one is task, another one is performance measure, another one is training experience. And then we have seen some of the examples, that is learning a checker game problem. What is the task, what is the performance measure, and what is the experience for that. I have also discussed about a handwritten recognition problem, and for this I have discussed what is the task P, what is the performance measure P, and what is the training experience C. So if you want to define any well posed problem, these three things should be there, necessary things should be there. One is task, one is performance measure, another one is experience. So I have given this as homework, a robot driving learning problem. So for this you have to write a well posed problem. Again you have to write a task, write the performance measure, write the training experience. Okay. So today we will come with one of the very important topic for your exam point of view. Definitely will get 8 to 10 marks question on this, that is design a learning system, how to design a learning system. So definitely you will get one question on this. So if you want to design any learning system, suppose for example I have the example taken here is play checkers. Okay, I want to design a system where my machine has to learn playing chess, and then I will send that machine to world checker tournament. Okay, so for that purpose I have to develop a machine, or I have to design my learning system. I have to design a learning system. The example I have taken is chess. Okay, chess machine, and I have to develop that machine in such a way that it has to be eligible to play in a world chess tournament. Okay, so here one example is taken. Okay, for this our general steps in the designing are in a machine learning is, first step is choosing a training experience. Very important, because based on the training experience, if you give good training experience, your performance will be improved, right? So we have discussed it in the last classes, right? Then choosing a target function, this is the second step. Third step is choosing appropriate representation of target function. Next is function approximation algorithm, choosing a function approximation algorithm, and last one is final design. So these 5 steps you have to explain whenever design of learning system is asked in an exam. So let us go with the first step, that is choosing a training experience. Right. So here, what is the training experience? Suppose for example I want to consider one general scenario, that you want to learn how to drive a car, how to drive a car. So what happens here? So you will go to some driving schools, their trainer will be there, and he will tell you his experience. His experience is nothing but his data, how to start the car, how to put the gear, how to apply the brake, everything. That is called as experience. Okay, and he will train you based on the experience, because he is a trainer, right? A trainer will give his experience, and from his experience you have to learn. Now you have become a system, so from his experience you have to learn, right? So this is an example. So here if you want to train, or if you want to choose the training experience for any system, or if you want to choose a training data for any system, there are 3 very important attributes. Okay, so 3 attributes are there. These 3 attributes are very important when you want to choose any training experience. Okay, so now this training experience will lead you to success or failure of the learning system. Okay, if the experience given is very good, if the experience or training given is very good, definitely it will be a success. if the training is not good, suppose for example you have gone to the car driving school, so many number of car driving schools are there, and if you have not learned properly, if you don't learn how to drive a car, definitely you will met with some accident, so it will be the failure of learning system. If you learn correctly, then it is called as a success, right? And there are three major attributes for this. Look at this. So we will discuss it one by one. The first key attribute is whether training experience provides a direct or indirect feedback regarding the choices made by the performance of the system. Okay, so this is first step. So there will be direct and indirect feedback regarding the choices made by the performance of the system. Suppose for example, consider the same thing, driving a car. What will be the direct and indirect feedback there? So the direct feedback is, consider you started learning the car. So while this learning the car, what happens? So consider this is a car. Okay. So while learning this car, what will happen? You will sit in a driver's seat and your learner will sit beside you. Okay. And he will explain you the step by step, how to start the car, how to put the first gear, how to press on the accelerator, how to change the gear, everything. Okay. So this is called as direct feedback. Okay, because he is directly instructing you how to drive. Okay, step by step. Then what is indirect feedback there? Indirect feedback is nothing but, so consider your trainer is not there. He sent you a video message. He sent you video or audio message to how to drive a car, and in that audio or video message he explained you step by step. Okay, or somewhere if you come to any of the gaming system in your mobile game or in your computer game, so there indirect feedback is nothing but help or help desk is given. Okay, help or help desk is given, or in some game hints will be given. Okay, most of the games we will find the hints. What is this hints? This hints will provide you indirect feedback. Okay, suppose if you do like this, then you will go to the next step. Suppose again if you do like this, then you go to next step, and finally you will win the match. Okay, so hints are provided to win the match. So this is indirect feedback, because no person is there present to give you the direct input. Okay, it is called as indirect feedback, right? So suppose for example, if I take our own example, that is play checkers. Okay, the system might learn from direct training example consisting of individual chessboard state and correct move for each. Okay, how the system will learn in a direct feedback or direct training is, direct feedback is, the system will check the correct moves. Okay, it will check the individual chessboard, it will check all the individual chessboard state, and it will check the correct move. Suppose for example, in the chessboard, so this is a chessboard, so it will check the state of this chessboard, in which state it is, and then it will also check the correct move. So correct move means you know how to move this all the coins of chess. Okay, so this will be moved one step here. So if elephant is there, it can move straighter horizontally, and this camel will be moved in a diagonal direction. Queen we can move in all the direction like this. Okay, so all this are called as correct moves. Okay, and the state of the chessboard means where the coin is present now and which coin we have to move. So this is called as direct feedback. Okay, so alternatively it might have available only indirect information consisting of the move sequence and the final outcomes of various games. So here in indirect feedback, what we will do is, we will not insist step by step. Okay, and we will not insist which move you have to give next. The system has to recognize which moves we have to take for the next by giving some hints. Okay, we have to give some hints, and it also depends on the final outcomes of various game played. Okay, so many of others have already played the game, and after observing this, okay, after observing this, it has to play. Okay, it has to play. So there is no persons available to give him the step by step. It has to observe itself. Okay, it has to observe others how they are playing, and based on that observation, how they are playing, how they are moving, based on that it has to learn, which is called as indirect. Okay, indirect learning, which is called as indirect information. Okay, next, the later case of information about the correctness of a specific move in early in the game must be inferred indirectly from the fact that the game was eventually won or lost. Okay, so ultimately, so if we play directly or if we play indirectly, what is our ultimate? Okay, the ultimate fact is whether the machine is win or machine is lost. Okay, so based on this winning or losing, we have to assign some credit to it. Okay, some credit will be assigned, and you know that, so credit will be assigned based on whether the whether the system has played correctly or not, whether the system has played within the given particular time, because every game has given some particular time. Suppose for example, if in a chess game a machine won within 5 minutes only, machine has win within 5 minutes only, and in the another chess game the machine has taken 60 minutes to win the game. So definitely the credit assignment will be differ there. Okay, suppose for example, machine has played correctly till the last end, till the last, and at last one step the machine has failed to win and machine lost. Okay, so for that also there should be a correct credit assignment. Okay, so there is some problem here in the credit assignment. Here we will face this problem because consider machine is playing perfectly till last, and till last the machine is playing perfectly means opponent is not playing correctly, right? And we have given some less credit to this opponent, and we have given more credit to this machine till the last. But at the last, machine has played poorly at the last. Okay, last step machine has played poorly and opponent has won the game. Opponent has won the game. You might have seen many practical example in the in this chess game. By using one coin only, many of them have won the game. Okay, so it does not mean that the other has not played properly. The others had played properly, but if you give more credit to others, the winning person has given less credit, means it is kind of a problem. So that kind of problems we will face in the credit assignment. Okay, and determining the degree of this credit assignment becomes very difficult if this kind of feedback is there, and it is very important that in the indirect feedback, there is a problem of credit assignment, because in the direct feedback, after observing the system and the instruction given by this trainer, we can assign the credit correctly. But in the indirect feedback machine, so where there is no direct feedback is given, there credit assignment becomes a problem. Okay, credit assignment becomes a problem. Look at this. A credit assignment can be particularly difficult problem because the game can be lost even when early moves are optimal. That's what I said. Early moves are very good, opponent is not playing properly, but later at the last point his moves are not good, his moves are poor, his moves are not good. Then what we'll do? We will give more credit to the loose people only, the lost machine only. Instead of giving the proper credit to his opponent, we are giving more credit, because at the first it has played very beautifully, very correctly. At last it has played with the poor moves, but this opponent has played poorly, but at last he won. Okay, so there comes the feedback problem, there comes the credit assignment problem. Okay, and it is very difficult. Credit assignment becomes very difficult in indirect system, indirect feedback. Credit assignment is very easier in direct feedback. Okay, direct training feedback is typically easier than indirect, right? So this is about the first attribute. Okay, I have just explained the first attribute. Now let us see what is the first attribute. It talks about the moves and it talks about the direct and indirect feedback. Please remember, it talks about the training experience by using direct and indirect feedback, and there is a problem of credit assignment. This is the first attribute. So let us see the second attribute. What is the second attribute tells you? The second important attribute of a training experience is degree to which the learner controls the sequence of training example. The meaning is the degree to which the learner controls the sequence of training example means, suppose for example I will take the same example, that car driving. Okay, car driving. Here there may be 3 states. Okay, there happens to be 3 states. First state is physically the driver and the learner is present inside the car, and this trainer has sit beside you and he will tell you the step by step how to start the car, how to put the first gear, how to put the accelerator, how to apply the brake, each and everything he will tell you step by step. This is the first step. Second, and consider a first step, you have started the car correctly. After putting the first gear, you might have made some mistake and the car suddenly stops. So then what trainer will do? The trainer will tell you or teach you that step correctly. Okay, consider first step you have learned correctly, second step you have made a mistake. Because of that direct feedback, because the trainer will be there with you only, he will correct you in the second step only. Okay, this is the first case. Second case is you are there in the car in the driver's seat, but trainer is not there with you, he is indirectly observing you. Okay, he is indirectly observing you. So what trainer will do? So trainer will teach you all the steps, okay, at once. First step, second step, third step, fourth step, like this, and he will tell you, you only go and you only check it. So wherever you fail, that step only I will come. Okay, so what you will do, you will go get inside the car, you will start the car, and then you start with the first step, and at the second step again you fail. So learner will indirectly, means has given you the steps, he has not present with you, he has given you the steps. So based on that step only you have to read. Okay, that may be the second case, because here the learner is physical, the trainer is physically present, here the trainer is not physically present, he has given you the steps, and based on that steps only you have to read, you have to learn the car. The third possible state is, consider there is no trainer, you yourself want to learn the car. Okay, so then you might have observed somebody, some of your friends, how they are driving, how they have done the first step, how they have done with the second step. You might have observed others also, and based on that experience you yourself have to learn the step, and you yourself have to correct the mistake, because nobody will be there to teach you. So these are called as degree to which the learner controls the sequence of training experience. These are the examples for this. So for example, if I take the learning our chess system, look at this. The learner might rely on teacher to select informative board state and provide the correct move for each. As I said, the first step where you and your trainer will sit beside, and each of the step will be given by your trainer only. So this is like this. So here in the chessboard also you are relying on your teacher, you are asking your teacher whether teacher this is correct step or not, what is the next move that we have to do. Okay, like this. Okay, so here also it is same. Next, what may be the second case? Alternatively, the learner might itself propose the board state that it finds particularly confusing and ask the teacher for the correct move. Okay, so here teacher is not present till he has made some mistake. Okay, the same thing, second thing I have explained in the car, the same thing happens here. So he started playing chess, and whenever he finds something confusing, whenever he finds something difficult, then he will ask his teacher. He will ask his teacher to tell the correct move. This is one more, second way. Okay, first way and second. Or the learner may have complete control over both board state, as I said, indirect board state and indirect training classification, as it does when it learns by playing against itself. No teacher is present, as I said in the car example. Okay, no teacher is present, you have to learn by yourself, you have to learn driving by yourself. So here also the chess has to learn the board state and training classification by itself. Okay, so these are the three states here. So 3 states which controls the sequence of training example. So you can please observe that which state you might have, you may be confident with. Most of them are confident with the first case, because for every step and for every mistake your teacher is present beside you and he will tell the correct move, right? Okay. So notice in the last case, the learner may choose between experimenting the novel board state and that it has not yet finished, not yet considered, or honing its skills by playing a minor variation of lines of play currently finds most promising. So in the last case, what happens, because the chess is playing with itself, it may feel that some states are very good, okay, because it has seen others to play, okay, it has already seen the other has played this kind of move and he has won the match. So same thing he want to repeat it here, okay. So with minor variation, right? Suppose for example, the learner may observe that by using queen, one of his trainer has moved forward and he won the game. The same thing he has learned from by watching his trainer, then the same step he is doing it in his game only, and it finds this most promising because it leads him to win the game. So this is what the second important attribute. And the third important attribute is training about the training experience, is how well it represents the distribution of example over the final system performance must be measured, okay. So after learning everything, so we have to check the performance of the system. So example here is, so I have learned the car, so car driving I have learned. So where to check my performance, or where to I have exposed my performance? I have to expose my performance on some highway, some road, or some in the traffic. If I drive correctly, if I drive my car correctly in the traffic or on a road or on a highway, then my performance will be measured, right? So similarly, here the performance of the system, final performance of the system, that is P, will be measured by using which concept here? Because this is a chess game. In the chess game, I will measure that my system whether it is learned correctly or not by taking that chess machine into world championship, okay, by taking that this chess machine, my chess machine, which I have learned in world championship, okay. So I will allow my chess game or my machine to play the chess in the world championship. Suppose my chess has won the world champion, okay. This is practically happened in 2018, okay. IBM has developed one chess machine and it has defeated the world chess champion. He is Garry Kasparov. I think you know Garry Kasparov. And this IBM chess system machine, this is machine learning built machine. In 2018, it has won against this person Garry Kasparov, who will be the chess champion, who is the world chess champion. Okay, I'll take my machine and I'll tell my machine to play the chess against the legends like Vishwanathan Anand, Garry Kasparov, etc., etc. If my chess machine won against all of them, then I'll give my credit as 100%. The performance of the system is 100%, right? So because the task that I have given, is fulfilled here and the performance of the system is increased, okay. Because how we measure the performance? We measure the performance by win, how many match it will win in the world championship, okay. So this is very, very important here, okay. You should not do like this. Consider you have developed one chess machine and you are playing with it and your chess machine has win the game. No, this is not correctly learned machine. We are not telling it as properly learned machine. The properly learned machine is one which win or which will win the chess game in the world championship, okay, not in your home or in your school. Is that clear? I think these points are clear to all of you. These three attributes are clear to all of you. So another important point here is there may be some problematic situation arises. For example, a learner might never encounter certain crucial board state, so that is very likely to played by human chess champions. So that means if you are telling that your chess machine is very good, you should not play with that chess machine by yourself, or you should not play it locally. You have to take it to the world championship, because the human world championship are very more positive, very more experienced than you people. So if you want to tell your machine final system is very good developed system or very best system, then you have to take it to world checker champion. Okay, so the problem arises sometimes that you might have developed one machine and you are telling this machine as performances 100% because that machine won the match against you or against your friends. No, this is not a case. Is that clear? So this is very, very important here, you have to remember, right? So this is about the first step. So in the next videos I will explain about the remaining steps. Thank you.